This estuary is believed to be the most important area in the state for migratory birds. When the tide turns, thousands feed on the mudflats, an experience that people from the Kooragang Wetlands project would like everyone to share.
The project's philosophy is to improve, rehabilitate wildlife habitat, but wherever possible to bring people into the process.
With the support of Port Waratah Coal Services, work will soon begin on an elaborate bird hide for the area. For the hundreds of bird watchers in the Hunter region, it will mean a chance to see close up birds who've often flown from as far as Siberia.
What this concept does is that it provides an area for people to still observe the birds without disturbing them.
Plans are also underway for a boardwalk around the edge of the sandspit and possibly more bird hides. Sarah Griffiths, NBN News.
In monetary terms, it's the state's biggest pro-am outside Sydney, and a top-class field teed off on the first day of the 36-hole tournament, all up 58 professionals and some of the country's best amateurs. A disappointing day in the women's for Australian amateur champion Dale Linnetson. Her 11 over par round of 83 leaves the midfield with 18 holes to go. The conditions were testing to say the least, but John Clifford was doing his best to catch the men's clubhouse leaders. Even par after 6, he had a golden opportunity to go to the top of the leaderboard on 7, but missed his putt for birdie. The second round of the $20,000 Pro-Am will be played tomorrow. The ninth and final round of the New South Wales Hill Climb Championships in Newcastle today, with the state's best drivers racing the clock around picturesque King Edward Park. The sight from the air doesn't do the course justice. In fact, the track is considered the Bathurst of hill climb, a winding 1,094-metre trip from start to finish, with cars reaching speeds of up to 150 kilometres an hour. Fans crowded every vantage point for this afternoon's action and weren't disappointed. In the 1300cc racing car class, Dave Morrow was in outstanding form, his time of 44.2, less than a second outside record time. But then the performance of the day, and perhaps the year, Peter Gumley driving himself into the record books. He blitzed the outright course record by more than a second to secure the state championships. And mixed results for Tamworth's big contingent of drivers. Dave Rogers was forced to withdraw, while the long trip east was worthwhile for Gordon Campbell. He won the Mark Sport Car class with a record equalling run of 45.65.
The environmental workshop is one of the nation's largest, bringing together 420 delegates from 23 countries. The workshop has been designed as an international exchange of ideas relating to environmental management.
We like to talk to our international colleagues and they to us too, so that we can exchange best practice. We don't want to reinvent wheels that we don't have to.
High on the discussion list is mining's contribution to the greenhouse effect and reducing the effect of mitigation. The Minerals Council of Australia says it's appropriate the 21st environmental workshop is being held in the Hunter, given the area's excellent use of land.
I think it's an outstanding example of how industry, particularly the minerals industry, can coexist with the agricultural and tourist industries and provide a pleasant environment for all.
And according to Dr Gould, the role of environmental manager has become increasingly important as community pressure on industry grows.
They are core to it just as much as those metallurgists, mining engineers are, and that's increasing all the time.
This week's workshop is expected to generate around $500,000 for the Hunter. Blake Doyle, NBN News.
It was a brilliant season opener for the Newcastle Breakers on Friday night, a 6-1 whitewash of West Adelaide, courtesy of a 4-goal haul by Jason Bennett. But it wasn't a great night for the Breakers' other striker, David Lowe. He aggravated an old hamstring injury midway through the first half.
Probably should have put the hand up then and come off, but it wasn't that bad. I tried to carry on, but I wasn't 100%.
Lowe spent yesterday and a good part of today at physio. It's a place the 365-game veteran knows all too well.
Yeah, I had a problem with it last year. I mean, when you get to my age, you've had a problem with most things, I think.
Treatment on the injury will continue all week, but a decision on Lowe's place in the side will be made tomorrow night after training. Coach John Cosmina wants to finalise the squad for Saturday's Brisbane match early, but the 33-year-old doesn't rate his chances.
To be realistic, they're fairly slim, I would say. I don't know how the injury will go.
There are no other fitness concerns for the Breakers. They leave for Brisbane on Saturday morning.
The retail sector is amongst the highest employer of people in the state, but under changes proposed by the federal government, forward rosters may be abolished for shop workers. Outlining the changes to the Shop Distributive and Allied Workers National Council meeting in Newcastle, Shadow Minister Bob McMullen says employees need to have advance notice of their rosters.
If they don't get that forward warning, the lives and opportunities of people to plan their childcare and all their other arrangements around their work, to blend their work and their family responsibilities, just go down the chute.
If the new Industrial Relations Bill is passed, Mr McMullen forecasts an increase in industrial disputes. He says the wage gap between high and low income earners will also skyrocket.
We had in the 1 week the head of Western Mining getting a $200,000 wage increase, 26%, and employers in the entertainment industry proposing a wage of less than $3 an hour for junior workers.
The government is still fine-tuning its Industrial Relations Bill before sending it to the Senate for debate.
For many, this is a daily ritual, and it appears to happen more often in the Hunter Valley. A major new study by the Hunter Area Health Service was released today as part of Asthma Awareness Week. It shows asthma is a growing problem in the region.
Not only is asthma a problem for people who've got it now, but we know that it's becoming more common, and so that means it's probably going to become more of a problem unless something's done about it.
More than 1,500 Hunter residents are hospitalised because of asthma each year. These rates follow an Australian trend which is high by international standards. Dr Gibson says sufferers need to be more aware.
Are people using preventive medicine? Do they understand what to do when they get sick? And can they detect when their asthma is getting worse?
Asthma Awareness Week continues until Monday.
Nearly 3 weeks ago, Luke Marnie and David Cosatini, along with the support crew, packed their car and set off for Australia's Red Centre. They nearly didn't make it, getting bogged as roads turned into sandy tracks. The pair were competing in the Simpson Desert Cycle Classic. In searing desert heat, the pair battled sand dunes and near dehydration to take first and second place in the off-road event.
We're drinking like 8 litres of water a day just to stay hydrated.
Cosatini has described it as one of the toughest events he's competed in.
Well, I've heard the race being called 5 days in hell, so you can imagine with 40-degree heat, plenty of hills, sand dunes.
The pair also raised several $100s for the Paraplegic Association of New South Wales and have vowed to defend their title again next year. Despite the 2000 Games being 4 years away, the push is already underway for areas other than Sydney to host events, and one of those events is sailing. The International Yacht Racing Union has indicated there are a range of problems in holding Olympic competition on Sydney Harbour. The Dash for 2000 committee wants to capitalise on the harbour's shortcomings.
Don't have the wind problems and the high hills, the current, the heavy commercial traffic, and we're very confident that Olympic sailing could be held here on Lake Macquarie, the whole regatta, and certainly, if not the whole regatta, certainly some Olympic training.
Video footage of Lake Macquarie has been included in a sales pitch to yacht racing federations across the world, getting the jump on other competitors.
We understand there's been some interest from Brisbane, and also Jervis Bay have been pushing their case to have Olympic sailing held in their venues.
The Dash for 2000 group says even if Olympic events aren't held on the lake, the venue's proximity to Sydney makes it ideal for Olympic pre-training.
We're convinced, we're now just going about convincing other people.
The tide is turning in favour of a long-neglected island in the Hunter River chain. Efforts at regenerating the natural vegetation on Ash Island near Hexham have been recognised by the Keep Australia Beautiful Council. A group known as Trees in Newcastle won the Community Involvement Award and the Kooragang Wetlands Rehabilitation Project the Waterways and Foreshore Protection Prize. The projects were credited for their quality of work and the level of community involvement. The centrepiece of the project has seen a former World War II radar station transformed into a field study centre. Volunteers have carried out much of the regeneration work, along with the support of local government and environment agencies. But it's an ongoing project, likely to continue into the next decade.
While it may not have been the Hollywood stars themselves, for hundreds of shoppers at Tuggerah's Westfield Centre it was the next best thing, a collection of genuine movie memorabilia spanning 60 years. Young and old film buffs milled around the paraphernalia of the famous and the faded, a chance to relive memories and reminisce about some favourites. Christopher Reeve's Superman suit attracted the most attention, Forrest Gump's now famous box of chocolates also drawing quite a crowd. The display is part of a massive collection of movie memorabilia owned by LA film critic Stephen Kirk. The exhibition is open until Saturday, Tuggerah the last port of call before it returns to America. Sarah Griffiths, NBN News.
By day, Thomas Presbury's realm is the washed-out world of lecturing the intricacies of conveyancing transactions. By night, he's a proverbial demon of the floorboards. Around every city and town, the over-40s hide a fantasy of the flamboyant behind their desk jobs.
I like going doing this, and then you put your tracky pants on and get in the car and come home. But you've been out there and you've been a fairy princess for a day, you know, and it's just fun.
Like thousands of others, partners Mary Stroud and Thomas Presbury and Barbara and Jeff Cameron have been spiked by Cupid's sequin stiletto heel and they're hooked on ballroom. The Camerons train 7 days a week. The call of the wild waltz has taken over their lives.
Yes.
Yeah, totally.
It's taken over our lives.
Yes, it has.
Yeah, we don't get. We often have a little whinge. We don't get time to go and visit our relatives or our friends.
Both couples recently took out events in the Southern Hemisphere's premier competition, the South Pacific Championships. No longer in the springtime of life, ballroom has provided its own bloom. They're fit, determined and not a half-turn short of impressive. But like every game, dance has its little drawbacks.
The divorce rate in ballroom dancing is apparently higher than in any other leisure pursuit.
In spite of the relationship risks and the possibility of ligament breakdown, neither couple foresees the last dance this side of the grave.
Can't give it up if we try. We've tried.
The news from the Hunter Valley Research Foundation is further proof that residents are nervous about parting with their money. Retail sales for the September quarter are down 6.4%, but by far the worst performed is the housing sector. The Hunter region is experiencing a 6-year low in the number of housing approvals. Dwellings have slumped a whopping 13.4%, non-residential approvals also down 10%. Despite the dismal performance, economists say there's light at the end of the tunnel.
Overall, it shows that there is a distinct weakness in our building market, and that's not really expected to recover until early 1997.
Continuing speculation over BHP's future in Newcastle isn't helping the problem. However, Mr Searles says the economy is relying less and less on the big Australian.
We are not just a steel-making economy. we've got larger employers in the health and education industry. We've got emerging industries such as tourism, which are showing very strong performance.
But it's not all gloom and doom from the Hunter Valley Research Foundation. It's moving with the times and launching an internet website.
The primary purpose is to be able to provide access to people from throughout the world to the Hunter region and information about the Hunter region.
The online information service was put together by the University of Newcastle. Blake Doyle, NBN News.
The Central Coast, Buff Point, used to have waterfront views that came right to the doorstep. In the early 90s, severe mine subsidence from the Munmorah colliery dropped whole streets to the water level of Budgewoi Lake, causing widespread flooding and damage. But it was a watershed of a different kind today at the opening of Edgewater Park on the site of the former submerged streets.
Here we have taken what was clearly a very difficult situation and one causing considerable stress to a lot of people, and we have, I think you can see around you, a magnificent solution to a very difficult problem.
The entire area has been revegetated with grass and trees, and a canal built to avert future flooding. The Mine Subsidence Board paid more than $3 million to buy the 22 homes and another $3 million to landscape the 1.5 hectares. The combined bill of $6.6 million sold by the state government as a good investment in the public's confidence in coal mining. Tonight, the relationship between coal companies and the community will once again be under the spotlight. People in Tuggerah have been invited to an information night at the local community centre to hear about new coal exploration in the area.
Making sure that the community knows very fully what's going on, they can feel comfortable, and before any final approvals are given, that all aspects are addressed.
The state government believes there could be more than 200 square kilometres of coal below Tuggerah and Wyong. Richard O'Leary, NBN News.
The area around Tuggerah Lake and Wyong has been targeted as a huge coal reserve for a joint venture mining proposal. Aerial surveys and test drilling are expected to confirm a 1.6 billion tonne coal deposit, which may see the development of an underground mine by the year 2000.
There's 60 square kilometres under Tuggerah Lake, and there's also 140 square kilometres in the Wyong field. It has to be all proven, but there's very good coal under Lake Munmorah and Tuggerah Lakes, and it would be a shame to sterilise that.
But residents and landholders are concerned about the impact of mining, and many took the opportunity to attend a briefing session at Tuggerah last night.
At the moment, we are commencing environmental studies to gather background data on things like air quality in the area surrounding where the mine will be, the noise environment, and we're progressing through to things like flora and fauna and the other environmental indicators that will be used in the later stages for the environmental impact statement.
It's this colourful cot that's believed to have caused the death of Brodie McFawn. Police believe the baby suffocated after leaning on the side bar which collapsed, pinning him down by the neck at a Muswellbrook caravan park early yesterday. One of the latches on the older style cot was faulty at the time of the accident. His death prompted an immediate response from Fair Trade Minister Faye Lopo, who this afternoon banned the Home and Away brand cot. Temporary bans have also been placed on other cots, including the Home and Roam, Travel Delight, Play Delight, Rest Delight, the Happy Camper and Babycraft. Brodie's death comes only a week after Choice magazine revealed that only one of the 10 cots they tested were safe. Leonie Forsyth from KidSafe is calling for tougher testing standards.
I'd like to see that the furniture manufacturers are mandated to follow the Australian standards so that their product is not only built to Australian standards, but it has been tested to make sure that their product meets that standard.
As a precautionary measure, the Minister has recommended parents stop using any cot that's been banned in the report. Vanessa Spark, NBN News.
It may seem like light entertainment to some, but these children are serious about protecting the environment. They're the cream of the Central Coast's young environmentalists, and during the last 12 months have been committed to preservation projects. At Chittaway Bay Primary School, they were rewarded for their efforts in the Wyong Council-sponsored Environmental Awards.
This is the 10th year that the project's been running. It's been pretty successful. There's, I think at the moment, about 12 schools involved in it, and it seems to get bigger and better every year.
This year's winners include Gwandolin, Arimba and Budgewoi primary schools. Nature preservation is now part of every primary school curriculum. Projects like these teaching students to respect their environment. Mayor Eaton says he's happy to help foster environmental ideals amongst young children. Nominations are being accepted for next year's awards. He's been a cut above the rest all season, out-toughing the toughest, even his own teammates. And at West Leagues Club today, he received the ultimate honour for an NBL rookie. McGregor polled a near-perfect 112 points from a possible 117. And it's not hard to see why, with his list of achievements as tall as the man himself. The 20-year-old averaged 11 points a game, even though he wasn't in the starting five at the beginning of the season.
But when I announced it, I think it was like I won the lottery. It was like great.
He shot 52% from the field and 39% from outside the three-point zone. At 8 rebounds a game and tough defence, and you have a rookie who's earning respect fast.
3 or 4 years ago, I'm still playing cricket, and now I'm playing basketball for a professional sport. And so then I think, well, I have come a long way, and there's still a long way to go.
That basketball journey starts with a tour of the United States with the Falcons, followed by an under-23 Australian trip to South Korea. But there's no hiding this youngster's ultimate aim.
That's everyone's goal, is to win an NBL championship. So I'm sure I'd love to win it one day.
Richard O'Leary, NBN News.
Thick smoke billowed from the scene as fire crews from around Lake Macquarie fought the flames. The fire began when two men were grinding a car body in a panel beater's shop, sparks igniting a can of thinners.
Up she went. Mad. Unbelievable. Hot.
The blaze quickly spread through the panel shop, then engulfed the adjoining boat building business. Toxic fumes caused havoc for firefighters, as did fallen electrical wires, which created a lethal situation for crews. With the blaze building in intensity, fire crews feared the inferno would spread to a third business. As more crews joined the fight, the blaze was brought under control. But with the flames extinguished, fears were held for the safety of a panel beater.
At one stage we thought that in this smash repairing premises there was a male person still missing. He's been confirmed as being found.
Two men from the panel shop were taken to John Hunter Hospital suffering smoke inhalation, one of the men with minor burns. From the air, the full extent of the damage, the roof of the panel shed collapsing into a twisted heap. The clean-up operation is expected to go well into tonight. Only then will businesses be able to put a financial cost on the blaze. Blake Doyle, NBN News.
Here, Madonna takes one of her first strolls with the baby. Not Papa Carlos, who, as you can see, may be more at ease fetching the more. Dr. Saram Singh Khalsa, a Beverly Hills psychotherapist who's helping Madonna make the transition. When Madonna is not holding her baby, her nanny is.
Guy who's used to pumping iron, working out, not fixing baby formula.
These days, the maternal girl needs all the help she can get. Rockin'.
What was once someone's pride and joy is now a burnt-out shell and a blight on the landscape. Drive along any bush track around Mount Sugarloaf west of Newcastle and this is what you're likely to see. During the past month, 39 cars have been found, 16 of those Commodores.
Mainly I think it's because it's inaccessibility for ordinary vehicles and that, and the remoteness of the location. And they seem to be able to get in there quite unnoticed and take the parts off them.
Police say car theft has been on the increase since April. They've laid the blame on young joyriders. Last week, Newcastle Police charged a juvenile with 34 counts relating to car theft. Police believe the cars are being taken from random locations around Newcastle and then wrecked.
It is widely random from my intelligence that I've received, but we have noticed from car parks, from public car parks and railway station car parks.
The responsibility of cleaning up the wrecks is up to individual insurance companies. But more and more the Forestry Commission and landowners are being forced to clear the wrecks away themselves. Police are warning car owners to lock cars when leaving them. Blake Doyle, NBN News.